What's going on there, guys? This is Quinn, that snazzy iPhone guy, and this is the video review of the Square Up mobile credit card processing system for iPhone, iPad, Android, whatever you have. There's probably an app from Square on it. Now, since Square's public release last year, the company has taken quite a bit of storm and heat from several competitors because of their very easy way to process credit cards. Now, this is really cool because there's so many different situations. Pretend that you are a 16-year-old kid, you're mowing lawns, and instead of having to get cash, instead of having checks that bounce or decline, you can just swipe a credit card on spot. Girl Scouts, I believe, are starting to do this with Girl Scout cookies. There's a bunch of different applications like touring bands, band gigs. This is something that is definitely, has a market. Now, up until the release of Square, there have been ways to process credit cards in the field when you're not at a point of sale, terminal system with a phone line to verify the cards. But the problem is, it's very expensive. There's always a monthly fee, which is sometimes 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks. You have to pay for the actual reader. They're bulky, they're large, and they cost $600, $700, $800, and they're not very elegant. They just historically have sucked, and that's why you don't see a lot of touring bands and a lot of different places accepting credit cards until now. Now, Square is this little tiny reader. This plugs into your headphone jack on your Android phone, on your iPhone, on your iPod, on your iPad, whatever. It plugs in, and it gives you the opportunity to swipe and accept credit card payments. Now, you do have to sign up through Square. Not everyone can just start accepting. Well, actually, everyone can start accepting payments, but you do have to give them your social security, and you have to do this and that. So there is a certain barrier. There is some protection for people that get charged falsely. I mean, I can't just go around swiping cards because they have all my personal information that then would be used against me. So, these are totally secure. They're not encrypted, which is why Verifone, a competitor, has been pissed off. And it's not really Verifone that's mad about the unencryption. It's Verifone mad that Square's stealing a lot of customers. But in any case, it's not encrypted, and what they mean by not encrypted is it's not encrypted from the reader to the device. Once it hits your iPhone, once this device registers your card payment, it goes, okay, and it encrypts the crap out of it. But from this little plug to this part in your phone, it's not encrypted, and that's why Verifone's pissed off, because theoretically, if you are a very intelligent developer, you could build a credit card system, or you could build an iPhone app that looks like the Square app, where you use the Square reader and you can theoretically skim credit card numbers. Now, what's the likelihood of this? Very little, and Verifone's overreacting. But just to say, okay, Verifone, take this. Square is releasing encrypted card readers this summer that are free. These are all free. You sign up with Square and you get a free reader, and you can start accepting payments stat. Now, unlike a lot of credit card terminals, there's not a monthly fee. A lot of them are 30, 40, 50 bucks. It really depends on the amount of income you're receiving a month from swiping cards. But there's no monthly fee. There is a per transaction fee, or a per transaction fee, rate of 2.75. Now, 2.75 is pretty dang competitive. You can find it a little bit lower, 2.5, 2.25, 1.8, but you also are paying a monthly fee, and it also depends. If you're racking in $100,000 a year, that rate is going to be much lower than if you're accepting 30 bucks a month. But 2.5 is very reasonable. PayPal charges 2.9% with an additional 15 cents per transaction. So it's quite a bit higher, and this is a pretty elegant way of doing so. What you do is you plug this into your device, and you're ready to go. You need to download the official Square application, but once you've done that, you're ready to start accepting credit cards. So let's try it. Let's do a little demo here, and I'm going to explain to you some of the great features about Square. So recently, I've actually been using my Square. I got the original Square, which is pretty ugly and not all that efficient, and then the new one is quite a bit thinner, quite a bit faster. It accepts credit cards much easier. But anyways, you get this free reader, and the reason I've been using them is because I am starting to locally root and unlock Android devices as well as iPhone devices. I'll jailbreak and unlock stuff for people that either don't know how to do them, don't have the time to do them, or scared to do them, whatever. So I've done about 15 transactions in the past 2 days. And I've used almost all of them with my Square credit card reader. So it's pretty handy, and that has definitely been something that all my customers have been anxious to try. So what you do is you download the official app. We've already done that on my iPad. I'm going to take the Square reader and plug it in here. And now I'm going to take my credit card so that I can swipe the actual I can do the actual transaction. So we're going to open up this Square application here. I'm going to give you a quick demo of the app real quick because it is a pretty handy one. All right, we've got our iPad right here, and this app is very basic. Now, what you can do, and what most credit card terminals are like is you can just add a total amount. So let's say I bought 50 things from Costco and my total amount was $358.68. You can add that, and that's what most credit card terminals are like. They just type in the total amount and you're good to go. But this also has the ability, and this is only on the iPad app. The iPhone app and the Android app are not quite capable of this, but Square assured me that it was on its way. But you can have items. So I haven't added these yet because I'm using my Android phone out in the field. But for the iPad example, root and ROM is a service I do where I root an Android device and then load a custom ROM on it, and I charge $24.90. Now there you go. Instead of typing out $24.90, I can just type root and ROM. When I send my customer the receipt via email, I also give them a physical printout. But if I send it via email, which I can, this will give them exactly what they bought. It has the transaction date, the transaction time, and so that can adhere to my return policy, wherein in 30 days I say, okay, no more returns, but he could come back in 25 days and say, hey, this isn't working. He shows me a Square receipt and we're good to go. So that's handy. But let's say I just had a $1 transaction. Okay, so you add that and $1 is your subtotal. Great, let's accept that card. Now you can swipe the card right now, or you can press charge, and now you can choose card or cash. So it really is a full-in point of sale system. It's not really just card and or cash. You can keep inventory, and there's a couple things that you can do that are pretty nice, and I can only imagine that over time they'll improve the app and make it quite a bit more powerful. But this window pops up and says card payment. Now you can manually enter the card number. I could go, sorry if this is your card number. I'm gonna get scammed. Okay, that's not even gonna work. See, there you go. You can enter a card number and you're set and ready to go. And then you have to put in expiration, zip code, all that other stuff. And the problem with manually entering it, it's good if you don't have, for example, this Square reader on hand, but they're gonna charge you, I believe, 3.25% with a 15% transaction rate. So it is cheaper to swipe the card because Square actually knows you have the card. There's less, there's a lesser possibility of scamming, and so that's why you do get a lower transaction rate with this card reader. So we're going to do that. We're going to take my Visa right here, and we're going to take the this little card right here to cover it up. But we're going to take this and just run it through our reader. We run it through once, and it didn't work, but we run it through twice. Sorry, there's kind of a technique to this, and when you're at a really bizarre angle because a tripod's in the way. There we go. I usually do it first try. It's pretty good. But it says authorizing. It checked, and it said, okay, you're ready to go. So unlike a lot of other terminal processors that have to send it out via the phone line, it takes forever, this is really fast and lets you know if it's an approved or declined card. And there we go. So now it says I need to sign here. There is no debit functionality yet. It is all credit. But again, if you have a card that is actually a debit card, it doesn't matter. It just charges as debit. So I will sign this really quickly, though, just to show you and just because you have to. Take that through. Perfect. All right, there's my signature. I can either clear that or I can say, okay, I'm done signing. I press done signing, and it's going to process the payment, and boom, I'm approved. So here's the great thing about this. It remembers all of your information. You can send a receipt via SMS or email, and this is the great thing about Square. So let's say I ran my card and I gave them my email, or I gave them my phone number so they could send me a text receipt or an email receipt. I give that information to them, and now let's say I go down to the street to the fashion boutique that also has a Square processor. I swipe my card, and since this is hooked up to the Square network, it remembers their email. So you check out once with Square, and any other time you check out with Square in the future, it remembers your personal information, which is sweet. So let's say I want to send it via via text message. You can send it via email. It's a very beautiful graphical receipt saying, hey, here you go. But let's send it via SMS, okay? I press finish, and boom. Right now, my Android phone is going to get a text message. One of these seconds here. Come on. There it is. All right. So we open this bad boy up, and I'm going to hide the sales receipt here, but it says you paid the Unlocker Salt Lake City $1. And then there's a URL to my full online receipt, which let's click this real here. This will be fun. We'll click this really quick. Never mind. It's not that exciting. It's pretty basic. It just has the location in which I bought this, and it also has the charged amount and then the items I purchased. But as you can see, this is a huge game changer. It gives everybody the ability to process credit cards. It has a good transaction rate, or it has a good percentage rate low fees, so you don't have to worry about a bunch of different accounting purposes, and it's just a very, very viable application in the future. Now obviously it still has some bugs. These readers are pretty good. They're not as good as a $400 reader, but keep in mind these are free. All you have to do is hook it up to your smartphone or your iPod Touch if you have a Wi-Fi network, and that's the awesome thing. There's no monthly terminal fee, and that's why it's a lot more practical for a lot more people, because maybe John Doe charges, or maybe he gets $100 a month. Well, if the terminal fee is $30 a month, that's not going to be very practical for him. But with this 2.5%, it's going to be a lot more viable for a lot more people, accepting a lot more payments. Maybe there will even be the day where, I'm trying to think, if you owe your family member money and she pulls this out of her purse and you can pay her right there on the spot. It's pretty cool, and I can see this being very viable in the future. It's done elegantly, and Square is an excellent company. Their customer support is top notch. So if you're interested in accepting credit card payments, you can do one of two things. Go to squareup.com and sign up for a free account where you can get this reader mailed to you, or you can go to the Apple Store, pick up a reader for $10, but then you go into Square, and when you sign up, it says, do you already have a reader? And you'll say, yes, I have a reader. I bought it at the Apple Store, and they'll refund you $10 on your first purchase. You can cash out your money every $50. So once you've made $50 on Square, they'll transfer that money direct deposit into your bank account, or they can mail you a check, I believe. I don't remember for sure, but it's very cool, and it's definitely something you should get into if you're remotely interested in accepting credit cards. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, rate, comment, and as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.